Sacrifice, the title, it's kind of a spoiler. Right away, we know
It is.
something is not going to make it in the end of this movie.
Mhm. Yes, were you surprised
Of
by who
course
it was?
yes.
Yeah,
This is one of those things that just keeps pulling you in and pulling you in.
yeah, going deeper and deeper.
Well, I gotta say, I watched it right before I went to bed, and this true story. I had the absolute worst nightmares that night.
Oh,
There was
really?
earthquakes, snakes trying to eat my dog. So I did not dream well, as the
Oh,
cliche says.
sorry about that. Yeah.
Well, then a giant rat jumped in the house that day too. And I was like,
A real rat?
yeah, this big fat rat.
Oh, no. Oh my
So
god.
I was like, this movie's cursed.
Oh my god. Yeah.
It's a little
Well, I
extra.
guess it did what it was supposed to.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a
Yeah.
little extra bang for your buck to watch a cursed movie, and then you get real scares in real life. But everybody's at home. The rats aren't eating in the restaurants as much. So they're coming to the house.
I know that. Yeah, they need to eat too, I guess.
Well, let me ask you, when you set out to do a new project like this, because like also Castle Freak, I just watched that recently too, and that's another, man, by the time you get to the last quarter of that movie, some just horrifying imagery in that. I'm wondering what kind of pulls you into these movies and why you decided on Sacrifice and Castle Freak. I know you were in the original Castle Freak.
Mhm.
You produced the new one.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's many horrible happenings in the world today, and I think the thing that horror does for us is it prepares us to be survivors and to be able to overcome horrible things that come our way. Fear and anxiety is very prevalent with everyone all the time. And I feel like watching a horror movie and seeing people go through real life horrors displayed on screen just allow you to feel a little more powerful. I think horror fans are some of the most self-actualized people I've ever met.
I think that's true. Now, I want to know, speaking about nightmares, in this movie kind of deals a lot with nightmares.
Mhm.
Are you aware of any subliminal imagery or sound effects that were utilized in the movie to kind of work into your brain while you're watching to give
You
you
know,
kind
I
of,
I wasn't really because when I work on a film, unless I'm producing it, and as far as Sacrifice, I didn't have anything to do with that. I'm not privy to the sounds until I see the movie. I mean, very often people will send me a rough cut and I will give notes on, what I think of the editing. But as far as the sound, I'm like you when I watched Sacrifice. I had seen it about 6 months ago, but I hadn't seen the final with all of the sound design and the music and the score. And I watched it 2 nights ago, and it affects me too. It does work on you, but I wasn't aware watching it myself even how that was working for me. But it usually I think music and sound will try to really give you the fuller experience and draw you in and give you little clues as to potentially when something horrific is going to happen, or it might lull you into a false sense of security and then give you a charge or some sort of scare moment that maybe you weren't prepared for, depending on what the director had the vision for the film as a whole or for that particular scene.
well, in Norway, such an interesting setting, just the history of the country and what it means to horror. And you see the Norway used very not too often, and I'm wondering, were you that actually there? Is this
Yeah,
where this was shot?
yeah, we were in Norway, and you're right. I don't really know of too many other movies that were shot in Norway. Um,
There's a Netflix show with the guy from Spring Street.
mhm,
I can't remember the name of it.
uh-huh,
What's it? The guy
yeah,
from The Sopranos. The guy that always got the bandana on. Do you know who I'm talking about?
yeah, yeah.
Stevie.
Van Zant, CV
Yeah,
Van Zant.
yeah,
Oh, is that Little Hammer?
yeah. He had that show on Netflix for a while. That was amazing to watch that because you guys
Yeah.
delve into the.
Yes, I did watch a few episodes of that. That was really good. Yeah. Was that Norway or was that another Scandinavian
I'm
country?
pretty sure it was Norway.
Okay, maybe you're
Don't quote
right.
me on that if I'm wrong.
Okay, yeah,
But
I'm
I was
sure.
pretty sure that was where that took place.
Hmm. Um, anyway, yeah, it was gorgeous to be able to have the opportunity to film there, and they they really they really wanted to film there. And it had this, the scenery and everything had this water aspect to it. There was water everywhere, and I'd never seen the fjords and only seen pictures of it, but there was water everywhere and mountains and then streams coming off the mountains into the water everywhere you drove to. And it was very rural, and it felt isolated. It did feel, even though it's a small country, but where we were driving for a very long time to different locations outside, and there was just mountains and streams and water everywhere.
What there's the movie The Snowman that takes place in Norway, and it's
Oh,
notorious for its lack of accents. They didn't even bother. I mean, it's like a
oh
who
yeah.
Michael Fassbender is in that movie,
Mhm.
and it got a little attack. You, on the other hand, really gave us a true Norway accent.
It was important to them that I be very Norwegian, and in fact, when they asked me to be in the film, they said, "Can you do a Norwegian accent?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, sure, I'm sure I can figure it out." And they said, "No, no, no. Can you do a Norwegian accent? Can you actually, record yourself and send it to us? Because we need to make sure that you can be very Norwegian, because we want you as the cult leader to really have, an authentic accent." So I thought, okay, I got to get serious with this. And I called the Scandinavian school in San Francisco near where I live, and they sent over a Norwegian speaker who actually teaches Norwegian to Americans. She came over and we worked on some speeches in the dialogue. And then I recorded it and sent it to them. And they said, okay, fine. And then I worked with her for the next 2 months on the dialogue, and just in general speaking with a Norwegian accent, so that if I wanted to do any ad libs or anything else, or anything changed with the dialogue, I would feel like I had a handle on the accent. And I feel like I I have a more deeper Norwegian accent than even some of the Norwegians that we had in the film, but only because of my character. My character is a cult leader, and she's, very steeped in the lore of what the cult is going through and what they need and the sacrifice that needs to be performed. So, there were even certain words that I I asked her, how did they used to speak in the old days? Because, even in Norway, everybody gets American television. So, their accent, and they speak English, so a lot of them. So it's not their accent sometimes isn't as thick as you would find in other cultures where they don't have access to as much American or English language films and things. But there were certain words that I wanted to speak more like an old timer Norwegian. So there were certain words like the word husband that they don't really say that anymore, but I sort of, infuse that into my character so that she would feel like deep and really solid into the cult and the culture of where she was.
And how deep did you get into the cult aspect of the movie?
You know, it's funny you say that, because I a lot. And I did read some newspaper articles about cults and about cult leaders and who they were and where they came from. But the other aspect of it is that my character is very nice in the beginning and warm and inviting, and I gave the couple that comes to the island a false sense of security. And if you look around today, you could say that a lot of groups are acting like a cult, political affiliations and religious, affiliations. You could look at some of these organizations and groups and say that they're very cult-like, but nobody's on the surface acting villainous and evil. It's subtle. It's more subtle.
I mean, here in Los Angeles, you will run into real witches, and they're never like on the surface a cult. They're always the nicest. Let's go get a drink. Let's have dinner kind of people. So,
Oh yeah,
well,
yeah. So
Ashland, like I don't know if you've ever been to Ashland, Oregon, but man, that's
I
town
have.
on witches.
There's a lot of witches in Ashland, Oregon.
And I went to college in Ashland, and up in there's a like a state park there.
Uh-huh.
And we'd go up there at midnight, and you could see real they weren't sacrificing people as far as I know, but you could see
What?
like ceremonies and stuff.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It's spooky. You're like,
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my time. I thank you. You're a legend, and it's great to get to talk to you today.
Nice to talk to you, Paulington. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to the next one. I mean, Castle Freak and Sacrifice back to back, a great double feature for this rainy weekend. So
thank you. Well, you'll be seeing Jacob's Wife soon. That's going to be playing at South by Southwest. So
we actually, I was looking at we've already been promoting that on our site. We have photo of you and a little story. We already did that. So I was looking at that going, oh, we got this coming out. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, great. Okay, awesome.
You were in a shopping mart. The glasses on.
That's right.
You were in a shopping mart, like pushing a shopping cart.
Yes, with black glasses. Yes, with sunglasses. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Anyways, it looks fun. I gotta leave, so I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Okay, thanks. Bye.